So I was thinking about what's going on in the world today, like I do all day, every day. And I saw an article today from CNBC about, Russia cutting off supply to natural gas supply to Poland and Bulgaria. And there's a veteran natural gas trader, Bill Perkins, warned of a potentially catastrophic pricing event this winter if Russia cuts gas supplies, uh, you know, to all of Western Europe, basically. And all I want to say to that is I completely agree. There will be catastrophic pricing events. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit. First off, if anybody watching this video is from a European country and you're just a typical average person like me, um, I'm thinking of you and I feel sorry for you in this event because you've probably already felt the pressure of energy pricing and felt that inflationary power on your life already. And it really is going to get worse, unfortunately. And so, we need to look at the facts and understand the situation and figure out, what things can be done and what we need to watch out for based on these events. So, Poland and Bulgaria are off of Russian gas because they've refused to pay in Russian rubles. The rest of Western Europe is really trying, the leadership is saying, well, we're going to go away from Russian gas because we don't believe in the Russian cause of what they're doing in Ukraine. Okay, that's fine. But it is a load of complete garbage that the European governments are going to be able to come up with a plan to supply the entire continent with natural gas by next winter, which, mind you, it's the end of April now. You got 6 months until it starts getting cold again there, really. In the northern parts, probably even less. It's probably still a little bit cold in a lot of regions. So, you got a little bit of a break here going into summer, thankfully, for them to figure out a plan. But their natural gas reserves are already low. That's the reason why their prices have spiked to the point that they are now. They were already low. The renewable resources of wind and solar are not producing nearly enough, and their nuclear power sources that Western Europe has relied on are getting shut down. They're trying to get away from nuclear because it's not good for the environment and ESG and all this type of garbage, right? And so I can agree with you and say, yeah, renewable energy would be great. Cheap, clean, renewable energy would be great. But it's a pipe dream right now, okay? There's not enough resources in place to just convert over. So we still need to rely on hydrocarbons and we still need to rely on nuclear. Those two things are the enemy of the state in Europe. And so, 6 months from now, if this war is still raging on and Russia is basically holding that natural gas supply hostage, the Western European continent is going to be in a complete mess and it's going to get cold. It's kind of a metaphor for the situation, but it's the truth, actually. European leadership is completely lying. They have no plan. There's no way, physical way, that they could supply the continent with enough natural gas to keep everybody at a livable temperature. Um, the, right now, they're looking for alternate imports, and basically the only way they can do that is through LNG shipments, which are liquefied natural gas shipments that come in on tanker ships across the ocean from other countries. They don't have pipelines going anywhere else except Russia, really. So. Uh, the idea behind that is the U.S. has an abundant supply of natural gas. What we do is we drill for it, liquefy the gas, and put it on these tanker ships, ship it across the Atlantic Ocean, get it to a port, usually in Spain or something like that. And there has to be a regasification process done to that liquid natural gas before it can go into the pipeline. So that's more cost that's being added to it. And then it needs to be distributed throughout the continent. And the major problem with that is although the US has an abundant LNG supply, there's not enough capacity in the tanker ships, and there's not enough capacity in Europe to regasify all that gas and distribute it throughout the continent. So, without Russian gas next winter, 6 months away from now, there is going to be pain in the European continent. And there's a couple reasons we need to be concerned about that. First and foremost, of course, is the typical person being able to heat their house or even afford to heat their house or cook or anything, right? That's going to be a horrible burden on the average everyday citizen in Europe next winter. It already is. It really is. They're trying to put in subsidies and all these things to help with the bills, but it's never going to be enough. Second, uh, natural gas affects so many commodities and products that nobody even thinks about. Okay, there's so many things that are tied to natural gas, crude oil, all these petroleum derivatives and things like that. And not only directly, where you might need natural gas to heat something to make something, right, in the manufacturing process, but natural gas and petroleum products are broken down and transformed into different polymers and plastics and things like that. Okay, so um, and fertilizer as well. That's another derivative of hydrocarbons, right? So there's all these trickle down, kind of like spider web effects that happen when you see these prices spike, and everything is already getting more expensive in Europe. Inflation is up across the entire continent. Prices are up for food. Prices are up for fertilizer. It's going to get very difficult, and we haven't hit the peak yet, not even close. So there's a couple things you should think about. First, how are you going to protect yourself and heat your home next year? If you can insulate your home over the next 6 months in different ways, if you can get better windows, if you can buy more insulating material, things like that, it's probably a good thing to do. If you can find alternate ways to heat your home, not everybody has that as an option, but if you can use wood, if you can, uh, use propane instead of natural gas and have a tank of it or something like that, instead of being tied into like a city gas line or something like that, might be worth exploring. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work over there. Um, Look for alternate ways to heat your home and be prepared for it because it's going to be very bad. And then as far as commodities and everything else, anything tied to energy, um, for example, like cement, okay, is a very energy intensive product to make. Prices are going to go up on that. Anything fiberglass, I was just talking about insulation. Fiberglass is a very energy intensive product. That's going to go up in price next year, almost guaranteed because of this. And that'll go worldwide, not just in Europe. But let's hope this conflict ends quickly, swiftly, and Russia gets back to supplying Western Europe with natural gas, or else we're all going to pay for this, and it's going to be a very difficult time. So if you're from Western Europe, any countries over there, I would appreciate hearing from you. Leave me a comment or send me a message, and I'd love to have some boots on the ground kind of information about this and how it's been affecting you so far. See you in the next one.